guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. As you guys know, if you've watched before, we're currently in lockdown in Melbourne, so I'm doing a lockdown series. This is installment 2. Today I am leveling up. I am going to expert level baking, so expert level difficulty baking. So today I'm making croissants. I was really croissant. I was really inspired by my bagels last week, and it's motivated me to keep going and trying to make something even more complicated, or things that I've always wanted to make. For me, croissants have always been like the Mount Everest, you know, it's the summit. It's really complex. So I'm super excited to try it out. I found this awesome recipe from Buttermilk Pantry, which I'll link below their video and also their blog, which she wrote a really in-depth description on the whole process, and it's very helpful. So super excited to try this out. Also nervous for the outcome. Not sure if it's going to be as good as the bagels, but you know, if we don't try, we'll never know. So I think out of this, I'll come out either never buying bagels again and always making my own, or 2, having a really great appreciation for croissants. I said bagels before, but I meant croissants. So yeah, it's probably going to be the latter, but this is a 2-day process. So let's start with day 1 right now. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, press the bell button so you get notifications every time I post. All right, let's go. Okay, so it's day 1 and we have 2 things to do. So 1 is make the butter barrage. If you don't know what a barrage is, I'll show you. It's pretty much like rolling out butter to like a thin, big piece of like a square or a rectangle, but it's called a barrage, just to be fancy. And then I'm gonna make the dough. So we'll make that and then leave it overnight. Also, we'll leave both of them overnight in the fridge. I was reading like to see if you could do shortcuts with this, but really the whole idea of leaving it overnight in the fridge is that you're letting the gluten evolve and really create that great texture, which will give like the croissant its suppleness and elasticity and make it quite pliable, and you want that for once you're starting to like fold and layer it. So let's start preparing the barrage first, and then I'll do the dough after. We're going to use a 60cm ruler because we're going to measure 40cm length for the barrage by 20cm here. So let's measure this out and get very technical. Enchanté. I'm a pastry chef. All right, let's go. Let's make a butter barrage. First of all, you have 2 sheets of baking paper that are wider than 40 by 20 centimeters length and width. So you can see that I've actually made the creases inside of the baking paper with the ruler, just so that it's pre-prepared and I know the outline. So what I'll show you guys there was the butter texture. So the butter texture was very pliable, not too melted, not too soft that it was oily. It was just the perfect room temperature where I could just still mold it and change it around, but it wouldn't get too oily. So once it's all laid out, we're going to fold it over with the pre-marked spots for the 40 centimeters by 20 centimeters, and then we'll flip it over and begin rolling it out. So when you do this, you want to do like a tapping motion. As you can see, I'm tapping, pressing down the butter, trying to get it to like spread out and also mold. So I think it was better if you just keep tapping it for a while and just keep pressing it down, and then eventually you can start rolling it like I am here. When you're rolling it, make sure that you keep it really even, because you want the butter barrage to be completely flat but even, and not to put too much pressure that you burst open the baking paper there. So once it was done, it looked like this, beautiful. I pushed all the corners, making sure it was a perfect rectangle. Once done, I took it and I put it in the fridge. You can put it in a tin, but I think it's fine to put it flat on the straight of the refrigerator shelf. Okay, so I just did my butter barrage and I'm very happy with it. I followed step by step what Buttermilk Pantry told me to do. Like I just kept tapping it and rolling out, and making sure it was all covered at the corners. I think it looks like a great piece of rectangle butter. Looks like a giant slice of cheese. But now I'm gonna do the dough. So let's get started. So I got bread flour. I was contemplating whether or not to use bread flour or all-purpose plain flour, but I know that the texture is a lot better if you do it with bread, just because you need it to have a higher gluten gluten content inside of the dough so that it really creates that elasticity, which is what you're pretty much working the whole time when you make a croissant. That's how it gives it those layers. So I searched high and low for this bread flour. Lots of supermarkets sold out of it. I think a lot of people are making bread at home, but thankfully my mum got me 2 boxes of this, so thanks mum. So yeah, we're gonna get started on the dough. Let's get it. Now the dough's done, so chuck it onto the pan and spread it out into a rectangle. It should be pretty pliable at this point in time. Then we're going to cover it with some Glad wrap, make sure it's all tight and secured because we're going to leave that overnight in the fridge, and it'll kind of start to rise slightly. Yeah, I just chucked it in the fridge on top of my Barrage, and we'll come back to it tomorrow morning ready to roll it. Good morning guys, it is the morning after and we're ready for day 2. We're ready to bring it on and make the croissants. I have been thinking about these croissants non-stop for the last like 48 hours, so I'm super excited to start to bring it together and start the folding, a foldathon as I would call it. So this is my dough so far, so that has definitely risen, which is cool. Alright, so now I'm going to roll out the dough to 40 by 40 centimeters square, and then we'll fold it and refrigerate it again for 30 minutes to let the gluten develop. So let's do that. Okay guys, so I've stretched the dough and I put it back in the fridge, took out the Barrage. So we're gonna set the timer for half an hour and then we will, in half an hour, commence fold city. So okay, the dough's been stretched. We're going to take it out of the Glad wrap and fluff it about a little bit and then roll it out into a 40 by 40 centimeter square. You can see that the gluten in the dough has really relaxed as it's so much easier to work with and it's very soft. Now we're going to add in the butter Barrage. Be really delicate when you're taking your baking paper off of the butter, or you want to make sure it stays in one piece, and the butter has cooled so it will be a little bit softer. Once we have that out, we can fold it as I'm showing you here. So fold in the sides and then tap away like I did with the butter Barrage, slowly making sure that you're spreading the butter but also not breaking it up too much. We want to make sure it's staying as even as possible throughout the whole of the dough. As you keep going, we're going to eventually come to a 60 centimeter by 40 centimeter length, 60 centimeter length and 40 centimeter width, and then we can fold it, so 1/3 and then 2/3. That second third we're going to overlap on the side. We'll then turn that side to the right hand side, and when you roll it out after you've put it in the freezer, you want to make sure that right hand side is also, that overlap side is on the right hand side, so that you create the layers on the cross section, so there's 27 layers. You're going to repeat this 2 more times after. I'm not going to show you now in this video just because it is the exact same process. Just make sure you wrap it after each fold, and it's airtight, and put it in the freezer for 15 minutes. And then once you have finished the 3rd fold, then you can start making croissants. Okay guys, so I've finished all the folding, the 3rd fold's done, I've just taken it out of the freezer, and it's time to start rolling it into the rectangle for the croissants, and then we can start making the croissants. Very exciting, it seems good so far. Okay, perfect, so you've taken out the 3rd fold, and now we're going to start rolling it out for the croissant. Been in the freezer, so you will have to just keep pushing as hard as you can. As you can see here, I am pushing it a lot, but it does kind of shrinking back into the shape, so it took a lot of time to just keep pushing and pushing until you get the 60 centimeter length by 30 centimeters. Eventually, once I had that, I was able to start measuring it out as I'm here to make sure that I have the right length. It will keep kind of shrinking back, so I had to keep repeating the same process over and over again, and it was pretty exhausting. So just make sure though you're not overworking the dough, that the butter is melting. If it is, then just put it back in the freezer or the refrigerator for a little bit to let it cool to relax. So yeah, just pushing away, and eventually to begin cutting out the length. So now that I have measured it and I liked it, I'm cutting out the excess, and then you can use that and make smaller croissants, which is what I did, or you can follow Buttermilk Pantry and make like a little bread croissant tin. So now that I've got it into the rectangle, I am measuring along and just putting indents of 10 centimeters along them, and then at the top you put 5 from each side and then do 10 meters. Once you have that, you'll see in this clip exactly what out. So now that's done, I'm just going to cut the triangles and like pretty much go from line to line, and so it will look like this. Now I can actually start rolling my croissants. Can you believe we're finally here? So as you can see, try and pull out the bottom and just make it fluffy, and so that it's lengthen it, and then you can just be the widest end to the top, such, and make sure it's quite tight so that you are not having like a super loose croissant. Leave that end tip at the bottom, and then as you can see, it's a croissant. I was so excited to get to this stage. I think it looked so great. Okay guys, I finished making the croissants. I'm so excited because I can see the layers inside. I don't think you can see it here. You can see it slightly, but it looks absolutely beautiful, and I'm so excited because if you can see the lamination of the butter, it means that you've done a really good job. So I also stuffed 3 or 4 with almond marzipan inside because I like an almond croissant, so we'll see how they go. But now we're going to proof them. Okay, it is now like 5:30, almost 5:40 p.m. and I finished proofing the croissants. I think they're okay. They seem very proofed. I don't think I've overproofed them. I was making sure I put like the mug in the oven to make sure it was humid. I'm just hoping I didn't like melt the butter. It shouldn't have gotten over 27 degrees, so fingers crossed. Time to bake it. For my almond croissant, putting on some almond shavings for these ones. It is out, it's done cooking. I'm so excited. I was so nervous. As you guys know, all day I've been shitting myself. But look how beautiful they are. Okay, that lighting's not good, but I'll show you one now. Start the croissant montage now. Alright guys, I want to try a really fresh, crispy, out of the oven one. So here we go. I'm nervous. Nice.
Good.
Almond croissant.
Almond croissant.
Nice. No response.
The crisp. Very like that.
Question marks. Mum's not saying anything. Thanks, Dad.
I like the filling as well.
Is that a forced like, Mum? Do you actually like it?
Yeah.
Okay. You're very slow to respond. Okay guys, that's the end of the video for today. I'm so happy with the outcome. I think they look fantastic. I was really happy with the outcome because I was very nervous, as you guys know, making these croissants, and it was very technical, but I think I did a really good job, especially for my first time. There are small things that I would work on for the future, like getting it a little bit more aerated in the inside, but I'm excited to try again sometime, but not anytime soon because it was quite an exhausting process. Once again, I'm linking down below the recipe that I followed. So Buttermilk Pantry, really great. She has a really good variety of things to bake. And comment below if you have anything that you think I should bake next or do next. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!